The Fortnite Simpsons event is officially over, and now we're headed to Springfield.
Warning, multiple realities have merged in a cynical brand mashup.
Today, we're going to explain the entire story up to this event and what happens next, because in 30 days, this island will vanish. The most important thing to know is this is all happening because of Daigo. When we first landed on the Chapter 6 map, we learned his family were mask makers. They were known to protect this island against demons and spirits for thousands of years. But how does that connect to The Simpsons? Well, it all kickstarted when demons started to appear on the Chapter 6 island again, this time in search for the Zero Shard, which is a fragmented piece of the 0 point. The thing is, Daigo and all of his siblings are young and inexperienced. They were not prepared at all. So Daigo, being foolish, creates a mask which he thought would protect his sister Jade and use curse magic to forge it. Now, using curses is forbidden in their family, so this was a big deal, and it's also why it backfired immediately. Daigo accidentally sends Jade to the spirit realm. That's a dimension where all the demons live and no mortal being is allowed to enter. But somehow, with the curse magic, he's able to get Jade in there, who has officially gone missing. So they have one choice, and that's to stage a rescue mission, which would be extremely difficult. Because his use of forbidden magic started this whole thing, surely it would help him finish it, right? So Daigo feels like he has no choice but to keep using curse masks in order to free his sister. But at that same time, our heroes of Chapter 6, which is Kendo, Hope, and Jones, are working on a plan to stop the demons taking over. So they visit the crash site of the Zero Shard and take these splinters from the ground. It's a fraction of the 0 point's power, but it's enough to free a demon known as the Night Rose. She had been brought to the island by another more powerful demon called the Puppeteer. He controlled her, kept her in eternal agony, and she had to be saved if the gang wanted her inside knowledge on how the spirit realm worked. So with the Zero Shard splinters, they forged a knife and used it to free the Night Rose in return for her help. Surely, as a demon herself, she would be able to rescue Jade for them, but that's not exactly what happened. Well, the Night Rose took the Zero Shard knife and actually gave it to Daigo. And so with the power of the 0 point and his cursed masks, Daigo prepares for his rescue mission. He was about to do the unthinkable, breaking into the spirit realm as a mortal. But something else was on his mind, mentioning how saving Jade won't be enough. I have to enter the darkness and defeat what lingers there. You see, he wasn't just doing this to save his sister, he had to stop the demons from attacking permanently and save the whole island. Jade was now saved and Shogun X was defeated. But at what cost? Well, we go talk to Jade after her rescue, and she talked about what she saw in the spirit realm, and it would be extremely important to the future of the storyline. Everything in this world is connected. The spirit realm, it was strange. It wasn't dark or evil, but there was a dark presence there. It knew me, my family, and it wants us, all of us, but especially Daigo. It has the shard. We can't let it take the island. If Daigo thinks he can solve this alone, he's gonna get himself in trouble. And this conversation would prophesize exactly what happens next. After rescuing her, slaying Shogun X, and getting a brief glimpse into the power of the spirit realm, Daigo had become obsessed with going back. He felt a connection to this dark presence, desperate to learn more about the demon that knew everything about him. From his perspective, he was doing good, he was gonna handle this himself and save the island from the strongest demons of all. He had to for his family. But this is what he kept telling himself, not realizing the other half of his brain was being corrupted by the dark magic. You see, in using the cursed masks to save his sister, he had also opened himself up to the forbidden magic used by demons, and it was slowly making him obsessed with this so-called dark presence. So Daigo had an idea on how he could get back to the spirit realm, but it involved a local syndicate boss named Fletcher Kane. So he approaches Kane and decides to strike a deal with him. You see, Kane knew all about the Zero Shard and wanted it for himself, but he just didn't know where it was. And this is where Daigo came in. He offered Fletcher the Zero Shard in return for money. Basically, you pay me to get to the spirit realm and you could have it. So with infinite funding and nobody left to stop him, Daigo was now full steam ahead on his most dangerous mission yet. The portal was now open and Fletcher Kane had nothing left to offer Daigo, so he betrayed him, leaving him behind as his syndicate collapsed and going after the Zero Shard for himself. The problem is that entering the Spirit Realm for a second time would permanently change Daigo. This trip would endanger the island and turn Daigo from a hero to the Dark Presence's puppet. And so with Daigo now controlled by the King of Demons, he returns to the island with a brand new mission. He is not here to save his home anymore, but rather unleash the full army of the Spirit Realm and end the world as we know it. So he uses his newfound powers to send out spires and demonic forces, slowly corrupting and draining the island in preparation for his master's arrival. Now that the Dark Presence had full possession over Daigo, there was only one thing left to do: get the island ready for conquering. Over at Demon's Domain, you could find this portal charging up with whispers coming from it, saying the name Asmodeus, the King of Demons. But there is just one thing this Dark Presence didn't anticipate: a team of heroes already gathering to help defeat him. Thanks to a shockwave that ruptured the whole island, random citizens had found themselves getting superpowers. Hope and Jones noticed this and decided to use it to their advantage, honing the teenagers' abilities into one big team capable of defeating the demons. It is known as the Supernova Academy, training these new heroes with help from the Night Rose, Midas, and veterans like Superman and Robin. And while this seemed like their ultimate plan, it was actually a secret distraction from Hope and Midas's true intentions. It was noticed by one of their trainees, Morgan Mist, who was suspicious of her teachers and decided to learn more about them. Morgan discovered notes written by these two, along with files from Shadow and blueprints for Utopia City. So what did it all mean? Well, to find the answer, we had to turn to the portal at Utopia. By bringing a sprite to this gateway, it revealed the true destination of the portal, and that's the 0 Points Vault. And so after learning about their secret plans, we confronted Midas and forced them to reveal what they were actually doing. He admitted that after the Supernova Academy defeats the demons, they're gonna pull a heist from the Spirit Realm, and that's to steal the Zero Shard and put it in the vault where it belongs. So now you know what Daigo had planned and what the Supernovas were gonna do about it. But what we weren't expecting was for Daigo to strike first. Before the heroes were even fully trained, he decides to go on the offensive and attacks the academy and leaves it in ruins. That's along with killing dozens of trainee superheroes. Now there's no one left to stop him from his final plan, bringing the Dark Presence to the island along with thousands of its minions. And so this is our first glimpse at what the King of Demons truly looked like. And it was an extremely difficult fight just to stop his tentacles from breaking free, but luckily we had some veteran heroes to help us. So thanks to the giant rotting tentacle lying on the island, its pure essence began to leak into the ground and it mutated bugs into creatures from the spirit realm. Eventually, hives began to emerge as a whole swarm of these insects invaded the island, so we needed to fight back. Luckily, OXR, an ancient military group, was re-established to fight them once again, creating outposts and this army. It stands for Onimorph Extermination Rangers, which also gave us the official name of these bugs, which are Onimorphs, basically insects mutated by the demons. Onyx Winter is the general and commander of OXR, who recruited us to the cause, allying with Hope and Jones to defeat the swarm, as we helped to defend their outposts and exterminate hives. But no matter the effort, the bugs kept on coming, only delaying the inevitable. So Hope began to take matters into her own hands, which is investigating the source. She recovered a piece of the tentacle, learning that not only did they morph on this island, but they also exist in the spirit realm already. That means that this massive swarm was also taking portals here from the spirit realm, the same way the tentacle got here in the first place. The problem is, the more it's used, the thinner the veil between worlds will get, until eventually the dark presence would not be so distant anymore, and it would be here. After tuning more sensors for Hope around the hives, we located some eggs nearby by giving off strange readings, which we brought to Hope, and it turns out these were tainted with demonic energy because they're actually brought here from the spirit realm. And all of this led Hope to believe that these are queen eggs. So now the next phase of the plan was in action. We had to use these samples' energy signature to weaken the swarm's access point to the island, so we could shut it down, right? Well, that's not Hope's plan. You see, she is very determined when it comes to villains, so she wasn't gonna risk another attack in the future, as we learned from Onyx Winter. I've had time to look over Hope's findings. Until this dark presence is defeated, the swarm's return remains a possibility. I'm assigning them to command. OXR's greatest success would be its own abolition. So with that, Hope began her research to reverse engineer the access point herself, intending to go there instead, defeating the swarm and the dark presence, winning once and for all. It's a big risk, and even she knew that. So in order to prepare, we talked to the ones who knew it best, and of course, it's our characters from season 1. Night Rose said she was aware of Hope and Joan's new reckless, ramshackle plan. Entering the spirit realm is, to put it mildly, ill-advised. However, we have a dearth of remaining options, so if we must enter the spirit realm to survive, I suppose it is better than the alternative. Jay told us that something truly awful is coming to the island, and we could either rise to meet it or wait for whatever it brings. And while fighting the dark presence with the splinter blades feels like attacking a great turtle with a toothpick, maybe we'll be lucky. And so speaking of those blades, they're still in the possession of Daigo, so we approached him too. He knew we came for the daggers, and used to think he'd use these splinter blades to save the island, but now he knows that isn't his fate, and then willingly hands them over to us. Do what I failed to do, cut through the veil and strike down this demonic incursion for all of us. And so using the blades, we open the veil even further, weakening the access point, and deliver the news to Hope for one final speech. The veil between realms is weak, and we have what we need to cross over. We have the splinter blades, the old swarm tunnels, and a small army of battle-tested allies. We've been in worse situations before, so let's do what we always do. Stay focused, work together, and make it count. It was almost time to execute the plan, but another anomaly was emerging. You see, this veil between the island and the spirit realm wasn't just affecting us. The Dark Presence's plan was impacting other worlds too. It's around this time a strange sapling started to grow on the edge of the island, slowly sprouting into a cartoon tree before eventually revealing Bart Simpson's treehouse. The TV inside even started to pick up signals from its old location, showing us shots of Homer, Marge, Lisa, and more. But one stood out from the rest. Here was a dark cloud with 4 glowing red eyes, our first glimpse of the Dark Presence making his way to the island. Then, our usual bus ride onto the island was met with a familiar alien duo. The Simpsons world was officially colliding with ours, and as the days went on, the anomaly grew more unstable as the veil became weaker. Now Hope's plan was ready to launch into action. It was time to face the spirit realm.
Okay, Jones, this is the place.
Oh, great. What do those two want?
The instability's getting worse, and that treehouse is not helpful.
All right, time to seal the breach and trap Mr. Demon in the spirit realm.
Your upgrades to the Rift device better work.
It's never let me down.
All right, Jones, if you're gonna do something, do it now.
This will either fix everything, or make it a whole lot worse. See? Piece of cake.
Heads up!
Well, I made it worse. So much worse. We can't let that demon take the island.
The Dark Presence has officially taken over the island, and we weren't strong enough to defeat it, which meant we had to flee instead. Before that could happen, Hope tried to steal the Zero Shard from the Dark Presence, but was only able to take a piece of it before they fell into a wormhole. Kang and Kodos took us to Springfield, while Hope and Jones pleaded with them to return to the island and fight the Dark Presence. But instead, we ended up merging realities, and now the Chapter 6 map has been fused with Springfield, taking us directly into the Simpsons season. Now, Hope and Jones have to figure out how to get home and locate the Zero Shard that was taken from the Dark Presence. And lucky for us, we know exactly who has it: Homer Simpson. Thanks for watching, and use code T5G if you buy the Battle Pass or levels or anything like that. It really does support us. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.